It is said that on Tuesday, November 8, 1966, Paul McCartney stormed out of Abbey Road Studios after a heated argument with the other Beatles and rode off in his Austin Healey, which he would later crash after running a red light. Paul McCartney was officially pronounced dead at 5 a.m. on Wednesday, November 9, 1966. It is believed that in an attempt to prevent mass hysteria, the Beatles decided to keep his death a secret and quickly decided to search for a lookalike that could replace Paul. Through a contest, they would choose William Campbell, a Canadian police officer. The secret would prove to be too much for John, George, and Ringo to handle, so they began giving clues away about Paul McCartney's death in their work. On the cover of Revolver, Paul is the only Beatle facing away, showing that he doesn't belong there. An open palm is also placed above Paul's head, which represents the final position of the hand gestures made by a priest when he blesses the body before burial. Next, we have the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band cover, which is flooded with clues. The cover is designed as a funeral scene. The crowd is the people that Paul would have wanted at his funeral. And now, if we pay close attention to the bass drum, we will see the word "here." And just under that, we can see the word "lies," with a yellow flower base spelling out Paul. Put them together, here lies Paul. Now if we look at Paul McCartney, again, there appears an open palm above his head. On the back cover of the Sgt. Pepper's album, if we take a look at George Harrison, who is standing on the left, we can see that he is pointing to some lyrics. If you read them, they say, Wednesday morning at 5 o'clock as the day begins, which of course we now know is the time and day that Paul McCartney supposedly died. This is the cover of Abbey Road. The Beatles again present to us a funeral scene. John Lennon dressed in white as Jesus, Ringo Starr in black attending the funeral, followed by Paul, who is barefoot as a symbol of his death. He is also holding a cigarette, which represents the coffin nail. Also, notice that he is holding the cigarette with his right hand. The real Paul was left-handed. Finally, we have George Harrison dressed in denim as the gravedigger. On the back, we see a white Beetle. If we zoom in on the license plate, it says 28F, because Paul McCartney would have been 28 if he had survived the accident. What do you think about the Paul McCartney conspiracy? Is it true?
I don't think it's true. You know, I've been a fan of the Beatles since I was a kid, and I read a lot about the Beatles. It was a group, an extraordinary band that, you know, maybe crazy fanatics or even their own manager, Brian Epstein, could have made, created that controversy just to be more famous, you know, like in their songs or albums.
And now, these are some of the clues that the Beatles put in their lyrics.
He blew his mind out in a car. He didn't notice that the lights had changed.
So unfair. You were in a car crash and you lost your hair. You said you don't look different, but you have changed. I'm looking through you. You're not the same. Suddenly, I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over.
The leader of the band was John Lennon, and after the accident in 1966, there was a shift of power within the band. Do you think John Lennon would have let a Paul McCartney replacement, in this case William Campbell, become the new leader of the band?
No, I don't think that John would have let, or any of the other members of the band would have let a replacement, take leadership of the band as Paul did in the later years of the Beatles. that was an impossibility. Even until this day now, McCartney, the most successful Beatle alive, has been taking most of the credit of the Beatles, and in his own career, being the most successful songwriter of the 20th century.
That was a hoax, right? Yeah, I wasn't really dead.